Consecrate the place and day to music and Cecilia. Consecrate, 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 consecrate. Consecrate the place and day. Let no wheels of gold, no day, no pay, the bow of the bow, no shoely shame, no tooth, no lead, the spoil of feet, the sign of no be read, the flag is read on every tongue, and all with voices streets be beg, keep up the love among the song, and imitate the blast of loving joy and harmony, and imitate the blast of loving joy and harmony.
Hi, I'm Heidi Katzian, a 1998 graduate of Waldorf with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communications. When my grandfather, uncles, and cousins walked these same hallways, a BA degree was something you had to leave Waldorf to receive. Today, students who remain here to complete their studies do so knowing they have more time to enjoy all the wonderful things that make this place special. When I arrived on campus, I had no way of understanding how Waldorf would shape my life. Not only that, I'm confident that everyone who has walked across the lobby of Salveson, run up the long flights of stairs in Thorson, or even hung out between classes in the atrium, felt a little lost as a freshman.
But somewhere between orientation and graduation, it begins to sink in that Waldorf is a place where lives change forever, a place that becomes home. Memories are created here, the makings for stories in years to come. They echo in hallways and classrooms that were once dorms. They linger in laughter shared by classmates and cordial confessions now professed. The most treasured of Waldorf's stories cannot be found in books, for they are written on our hearts.
My first story is special. In about 1934, my parents went for Sunday morning worship at Salem Lutheran in Lake Mills. The Waldorf choir was presenting the service, and I was impressed my folks wanted to miss church to go there. And I've always had that really in control look. And the students were so intent in their singing. And I just thought, this is such an inspired group. They sing like they mean it. I knew then I'd like to be a part of that group sometime.
When I first came to Waldorf in the fall of 1952, I was excited about being on campus to become a teacher and part of the education program, and even more so to be a part of the Waldorf choir, which was a big incentive for me. I had heard them a couple years before that and thought, oh, how great it would be to sing in the choir.
I remember coming down here not knowing a soul, and within the first evening I had met 15, 20 new friends, and I felt very comfortable at Waldorf.
I first heard about Waldorf through a high school mentor. She was going to be a freshman in college, and I was a freshman in high school. And actually that year the state speech competition was here, held on Waldorf's campus. So I actually made several trips to Waldorf before I actually made my first official college visit. When I came my senior year for my college visit, I just knew right away in the people I met, the opportunities I was going to have, and it felt right. And people always ask me to explain that, but it's hard to. It's just that feeling that you can get when you first come to Waldorf.
When I came for orientation, I remember Roger Hadley greeting all of the students, actually by name and by hometown, and that was amazing that one person could know so many people. And even throughout the year, he remembered what my name was, called me by name, and I know that he did that to all the other students too. So that was very welcoming. I was in a good place.
When I came that first day after traveling 350 miles with my parents, We walked through the front doors of Salveson and of course looked at that scene of the fireplace that you're seeing behind me. And lo and behold, the first person to greet me was A.W. Strand.
Art Strand, Julene Friday, Bernie Biddle, Michael Van Auken, Ken Hansen, Margaret Tonneson, James Hamry, Richard Bauer, Eric Feets. The list of characters in Waldorf's story are endless. Some are remembered for the unique things they did, like Ingeborg Koltvedt, who stood on a box to reach the blackboard, or Dr. Allner Christian, who had a unique way of waking those who slept in class. Others are linked to a specific time or place. Velma in the Valhalla, or Gatsby's. Muggy Hagen in rehearsals and performances, and long bus rides across the country. Bob Sherman in classrooms and hallways, or anywhere there's an audience for a war story. Of course, the best tales are told by the characters themselves.
We used to play down in by the Highway 69, and we had one referee who said the moon was brighter than the lights. Well, I think most of the, well, I remember C.V. Johnson because he was a card. He had a dog that would sit with him in class, and he was a little excitable during a game. And we were in the state tournament, semifinals, I guess. And he yelled out at the referee, and when he yelled out, his teeth, false teeth fell down on the floor and went into rosin, if you know what rosin is. And I know we were about to get technical, but the referee just couldn't call with us.
I came here as a student in '52, and this was still the physics lab and still my dad's office. I remember Dr. Tanner's office, and Dr. Tanner was a highly revered religion professor who came to Waldorf. I'm not sure what year it was, but he was in his 70s, was here for 20 years probably at least, and taught until he was in his 90s. And I can remember him bounding up the stairs two at a time, even while he was in his 80s. His office was just up at the head of the stairs in the area where the communications studio is now.
The students would come into the classroom in the third semester calculus and ask, couldn't we go outside today? And he said, you get the blackboard and we'll go out. And they ran over to the student center and got the blackboard out of the faculty lounge and carried it back right down here in the sunshine.
When I lived on campus during the 50s, one of the wonderful ladies was Tilly Rasmussen. And Tilly was our cook. Our eating was done downstairs at Salveson in a cafeteria. And one of the things everyone would just wait for would be Saturday nights and Sunday mornings. But everyone would talk about her cinnamon rolls with frosting on. And I'm class agent for the great class of 1954. And when I send that letter out and I ask for memories, Tilly's rolls.
Tears mix with laughter as Waldorf stories are retold. Fond memories of friends mingle with tales about mischief and even a little mayhem.
Dick was here as a student at the time and drove a little yellow Crosley car. And Crosleys are about the size of a Volkswagen, or a little smaller, a Volkswagen Bug. But about 8 or 10 of us one day thought it would be fun to carry that little Crosley into the lobby here of Salveson. So we found his car on the street and carried it up the steps.
I lived in Ormseth Hall, and some of my major memories about living on first floor was that whenever anybody got locked out and you didn't have a key, you went and knocked on somebody's window. So many times it was get up in the middle of the night, go let somebody in.
Well, one of the recollections that I have from my growing up years was an episode that happened while we lived here and had an apartment on the second floor. My dad was Dean of Men. And I suppose I tended to wander the corridors and pester the guys. It was a boys' dormitory at that time. And I must have pestered a couple of them a little too much once because they held me out the window, and that's been an episode that for some reason has been brought up time and time again over the years.
Salveson was where our dorm rooms were, and it was, the boys were in Thorson. And sometimes we'd throw water out our windows, the boys walking by, and we weren't dull. Life wasn't dull.
When I was on campus in the early 90s, I think a lot of the things that would happen, lots of things between the different residence halls, and we would do like water fights, of course, and those continue on today. Lots of snowball fights. We would go up to the guys on the second floor and tie all their doorknobs shut and just do things like that. Duct taping people up, having shaving cream fights, everything. You name it, we probably did it.
We created a lot of our own fun, and that happened in the dorms, at the parks, to whatever it might be.
Water fights of the 30s foreshadowed water fights in the 90s, but campus life, academic life, changed in response to the times. Early in its history, Waldorf's Academy prepared students for a college education or a vocation that served others. The Great Depression and World War II sharpened Waldorf's focus on the first 2 years of college life, a student's foundational years. Then, at the brink of a second century, Waldorf evolved into something generations of students had hoped for, a place you didn't have to leave.
When I graduated from Waldorf, one of the hardest things was saying goodbye to these people who had been so much a part of my life for 2 years.
One of the most exciting things, in addition to the technology, that I've been fortunate enough to be a part of is the BA program. That's been exciting to watch. Many years I remember a lot of people saying, oh, I'm scared to transfer, I don't want to transfer. It's exciting for me now being an alum, being an admissions counselor, past admissions counselor, now being a faculty member, to be able to offer that opportunity to students and say, you know what, you can stay at Waldorf, you don't have to transfer.
I would say some of the biggest change physically would be like we had computer labs, and now everyone has their own laptop. That just kind of blows me away. Students can do the 3-year BA. I didn't have the opportunity to stay for more than 2 years.
When I think back to my life at Thorson, we probably had one portable typewriter in the whole building. And now I'm sitting in a room in the residence where each room is wired for networking and for computer, has their own bathroom, and so many amenities that were not present in Thorson, but I am not jealous. I'm just thrilled for students that are here today and can benefit from it.
Historically, Waldorf has kept pace with the times. Today's laptops and classroom technologies convey a commitment to educational innovation. It's a heritage of responding to students' needs, both in the classroom and outside of it. Most of the time, changes were proactive. But one fabled spring, a sit-in at the campus center changed the college from an institution that prohibited dancing into a place where dancing became a way of life, at least on the weekends.
Well, of course, like everybody today, we all study during the week. And for the weekends, this place right here in the campus center is where we had our dances. One of the things I remember about the dances was Prince was very popular back then, and 1999, if anybody remembers that song, seemed forever away. Everybody stayed for the weekends.